Good morning. It is 10:08 a.m. on a Sunday here in the States, and today I wanted to ask you guys about music. Music is a huge deal to me. It's important. It's it's half of what I do typically, not play, unfortunately. I mean, I have a guitar, but I mean, I'm really terrible at it. But I for writing, whenever I've written a book, a long form, a big book, whether it's a long short story book or, okay, a long short story or a novel, I always have music on. It's environmental, of course, because, well, nowadays with your phone, you can have anything anywhere, right? But typically, when I write, I'll fall into a certain type of music when I write, and it'll be like for Flotsam, for Jetsam, a book that's not out. It was a kind of a romantic comedy, and it was just basically like 135,000 words of 4 people making fun of each other and everybody around them. But it was a contrast, it was bright, and it wasn't the usual stuff I write, and I remember transcribing that book because I wrote it by hand. It was like 610 pages. It was a lot of yellow pages. And, but iTunes was open, and I remember I was typing, and there are so many factors when you transcribe a book from handwriting to the screen. You lose a lot of pages. You lose a lot of shit. So, but you also gain a lot of editing perks, which, I mean, I'm sure you're aware of that. I'm sure some of you out there have done that, if not a lot of you. And so I had a blast because you don't really have to. You're in a different kind of mode because the work's done, but you're just making it. You're putting lipstick on it, right? You're having fun. You're giving it a mohawk, whatever euphemism or metaphor. But it already exists. It's almost like a victory lap in a weird way. I wouldn't want to always do it, but for that one time transcribing that much. But the point I'm making is, we we always want to. I mean, I always want to bring the A game, and sometimes when you just want to just let it go and just you know show some B-roll once in a while. And a lot of the scenes in that book were not something I would normally keep for a book. It wouldn't have made the cut, but I just kept them, and I didn't lose a whole lot. I think I lost like 15 pages on the whole, so which is not bad. And so anyway, the point is, I was writing to, I think it was Adam and the Ants. It was, I don't know how it got in my iTunes, but it was Friend or Foe, the album. And I just remember waking up, having my coffee, and it was like I just heard that trumpet, and then Friend or Foe, and I was like, oh, here we go, great day, right? So I just transcribed, and so then another book I wrote, which is not out yet either. It's coming out soon. It's about a guy who, well, let's just say he's somewhere he doesn't want to be. And that was it's a really dark, sad book. I mean, it's sad. And, yeah, just like this dark blue, like chrome black, gross lava moving, thick, uh, body of work. And, but I wrote that to Neurosis, Times of Grace. They're a metal band from Oakland. And even some more mainstream. I had, after that was over, in queue was Alice in Chains' Dirt, and both of those, and I think the books would have been the same without the background, without the ambiance, the soundtrack, but, I don't know. But I don't ever want to write a book in silence if I don't have to, or if there's a way not to. Meaning if I'm not in the road or somewhere where something hits me, I'd rather have my music. It's gone from the days of like dual cassettes to 6 CD changers to endless digital music. And I will never complain about that. And, but I'm going to do a challenge on prose. And it's not going to be a paid challenge, or maybe it will. maybe it will. Maybe next month we'll do that. We'll say, who do you listen to when you write? But for now, I want to know, who are your inspirations? On my mind today, because when I woke up and had my coffee, um, I was, hang on, I was wearing this shirt, and I wasn't going to do a video for the pros channel today. I was going to do my own channel about this, but I figured, you know what, it goes so much together for me, and maybe I'll put this on my own video too, my own channel, or maybe I won't. But I guess the point is I wanted to ask the writers on pros, especially in our Discord, what do you listen to? And so I was in Phoenix in 2016, and I was there to see a buddy of mine. I hadn't seen him for a long time. Excuse me. And I had it had to have been, I don't know, 10 years since we'd seen each other. And so we met up at this club. I think it's called the Rebel Lounge, right? And I think it was something else back in the day, if I'm not mistaken. And so there was a band there. I think it was maybe this band called, I think it was Mastodon. This band called it was Mastodon, but I've never been a huge fan of certain bands. Like there are certain, like I guess esoteric bands that are metal that I've always liked, like Converge and other bands. And Mastodon's a great band. I never owned any of their music, and I do like them. They're amazing, but I just sometimes certain things just don't just do it for you, right? And I have to say, though, I walked out of there a fan of theirs, so I'll take it back. But I'd only seen him once before, and I was pretty drunk when I saw him before, and I was in Portland, and I was, yeah, I shouldn't even gone to that show. But it was right across from my house. Well, it was a free ticket. I'm like, yeah, I'll go see him. So, anyway, it's a casual video, you guys. It's Sunday, whatever. So the idea for this video today for the pros channel was tell the horror story, and so this 3-piece band came out, and they're from Atlanta, and they took the stage, and they tore that place to shreds. I stood there. I mean, they were so good, I was laughing, and I was so surprised, and I'm not really, I typically don't buy merch, but I saw this shirt, and I'm like, oh, I'm buying that. One, it's Love's Truck Stop inspiration. Who doesn't love that? If you're a traveler, you see that orange, or that sign with that heart, the yellow sign with that, and you want coffee, or you have to use a bathroom. Yeah, it's like an oasis, and a Flying J too. But anyway, so they played, and I have a video, and I'm going to play it for you guys right now. Just a phone video. And I normally don't do that either. Normally when I go to a show, I'll try to maybe take a picture here and there, but a photo, a pic. But typically I like to just have the experience in my brain and nowhere else. In fact, when I traveled Europe in the winter of 16, springish of 16, I debated, do I take photos or do I just keep it in my brain, right? I took photos. My phone didn't really work over there, but my phone was a camera basically, and I took a shitload of photos. Yeah, maybe I'll put that at the end of this too as a 3-minute video, but I'll say that from the time. But Might take 20 years to upload that, but anyway, point is, when I did the that traveling I did back then, I put all my stuff in storage, and I wanted to just get away. I'd been in the same place for a while, and I took all the stuff out of my house, and I decided not to renew my lease at that time, and I just put it in storage, and I put my pups in the car, and we just traveled. We went down to the Southwest, just stayed in South Arizona, North Mexico, um, North Arizona. I stayed in Arizona. I didn't get to California. I didn't get to Vegas or Colorado. I wanted to go places just to be, I don't know, I guess without any kind of weight on me. So, but I came back and now I'm living in a different part of the US, but once in a while when I get stuck, if I want to write and I'll play some music, or if I hear a certain song, I'll want to write. And whether it's Gustav Mahler, who's my favorite classical composer, um, Beethoven, Rachmaninoff, Shostakovich, Tchaikovsky, Liszt, all of them. There's something about them, Mozart. There's something about it, and even maybe that's why I'm a huge fan of metal, certain metal, because it's almost like classical music for the future, right? Um, and I've always loved 80s music, post-punk, punk, 70s, 60s, old country, classic country, smart music. I love old Jane's Addiction, The Police. And so my my question to you guys is, what do you, to the writers on the app and to our Discord too, what what do you like to listen to when you write? What inspires you? Yeah. And I've always wanted to ask that. And typically you'll get somebody who says, well, make it a challenge so we can just write about it. So I'm going to do that too. That's going to be a challenge. Probably for next month. That's like, that is a good $100 challenge, I think. What, write about in your words, not a review, write about the music that inspires you to write and why. And I think that's a cool challenge. In fact, let's make that set in stone. Let this video prove that. That's going to be next month's challenge. What inspires you to write? Who is the musician or musicians that you know kick awake that that thing of ours? So, okay, I've gone on long enough. If you haven't yet, check out Horrors, check out Neurosis, and also in the comments below, before I go, leave a comment. Leave a comment talking about who inspired you. Who was it? What was it? If you hear something, do you have to stop everything and listen to that? If I remember I was driving it was in 2009. I was on the March of Time and Skin tour, and I was in Peoria, Illinois, and I was trying to find this cafe. I was doing this thing at like One World Cafe or something, and I had to set up and blah blah blah. But I was driving around this park by the university there, on top of the hill, and I remember I had to park, and there was a parking spot, right? But I was driving and the song came on. It was Def Lepp's Foolin', fool. And I couldn't stop. I just had to keep driving. I made that block. That song ended, lost my spot, but it was totally worth it. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today too, is what, do you have a certain song you have to hear every day? I mean, I get on kicks or I'll be like, I want to hear this and I'll hear this and I'll hear this. And anyway, so yeah, let me know. I'm really curious about what you guys listen to and what inspires you. And I've been surprised. I've met novelists who were like old and grizzled, or like, young and green, and their choices, and not only just their decor and their environment, how they set the rooms up, and also, side note, I was in Oregon once, and I was like, 27, and I was building houses, these like fourplexes, and we were in this we were building the inside of this house out, and I remember my foreman came in, and he was this, like Yosemite Sam, little hairy guy, and he was always like, I was super, super pissed all the time. Like the world was out to get him. It was hilarious, and I loved him. I couldn't wait to see him and just just fuel those flames. Like I just say shit that I didn't care about, that he cared about. Like I'm not a sports fan, but I'll be like, oh man, looks like the Vikings, and I'll just hear something on the way to work, and I'll bring it up, and he'll just go on for 25, 30. He would just go on for 40 minutes. Just, yeah, I was a dick, but I had fun with him, and he kind of knew I was crazy, but he said, yeah, we did this house. I don't know how it came. Oh, I was reading a book at work. I was reading Lolita again. I was rereading it, and and he said, what are you reading, boy? I'm like, it's a book called Nabokov. And and Back to the Police, just like that, the old man in that book by Nabokov, and Don't Stand So Close to Me. I don't know if that just crossed my mind, but point I'm making here is, um, the guy was like, yeah, we just did a house over here, this place, speaking of, books, and this lady's a professional writer. And I perked up. I'm like, oh, she is? Who is she? What's her name? And he's described her to me. I didn't know. I couldn't, of course, back then especially. But she and her husband moved to this getaway, right? And he said, yeah, we had to, she made us pay, she made us go in, and they were doing some kind of custom build, right? Or something. I forget, but they had to paint, and she wanted a different color wall here, a different kind of style wall here, and a different style wall here. And her reason was, in case she lost inspiration, she can go to a different wall or a different window. At the time, I thought, wow, what must be nice. What a precious thing to do. Give me a break. But now that I'm a little bit older, now that I'm 28, no, I'm just kidding. Wow, I wish. No, I don't wish. I like being where I am. But the point is that now I'm like, I get it. I totally get it. I get it. When you go so far, you go to a certain point, you will do a lot to preserve your form if it starts to wane on you. So anyway, okay, I've gone on long enough. Believe it or not, this is almost still full. I barely touched it, but I got a lot of sleep, and that's rare. So I'm gonna get to work on the app. Uh, no rest for the neurotic. So you guys have a good one, and thanks for being here. I'll talk to you soon.